Supposedly, they found a way because Dominic Williams, who is literally the founder of Dfinity, just made an announcement, which I think is pretty cool. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but here's the thing. Dominic Williams, he says how Dfinity researchers have found a way to enable new internet computer GPU nodes to run frontier LLMs. LLMs, by the way, stands for large language model. I like the sound of this because maybe this could have future implications when it comes to AI. I do like seeing that. And he says how it's not just neural networks as today, but who's really going to care about that statement? However, let's continue on. He also says how, again, they found a new way to enable new internet computer graphic processing unit nodes to run competitive speed and cost. Okay, cool, I guess. I mean, who doesn't like things that are cost efficient, right? So I do find this to be pretty interesting, in my opinion. I mean, again, even Dominic Williams thinks it's pretty interesting. So overall, yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. Now, of course, it hasn't really done much to the price of ICP, but that's not really the point. The point is this could have major future implications, in my opinion. We all know that Dfinity, they're really pushing this narrative when it comes to AI, right? So, of course, seeing an aspect of, for instance, having a way to enable new internet computer GPU nodes to run frontier large language models, right? Wouldn't that be pretty awesome? Because again, we already know what implications that could have when it comes to AI. So we loop that back into this, in which case Dfinity really cares about AI. I think this right here is really awesome, in my opinion. Furthermore, we take a look at what do developers oftentimes care about? Things that are cost efficient, right? And I did see a little bit of an aspect of this, again, when it comes to this post. So why is this a bad thing, right? I mean, sure, ICP is not went to have its own independent rally or anything like that. No, it hasn't done that as a result of this. But at the same time, it's pretty interesting, I think, what this could mean for the future of ICP. But sometimes this type of stuff takes quite a while. It's not really like instantaneous, right? At least that's the way I view it. It's like back in the day playing a video game and you want to level up. It maybe takes quite a while, right? Sometimes it just doesn't happen like that in a day or two. So this is the way you take a look at it. It's a little bit different here. However, if we take a look at it, a lot of people, they just kind of don't really care, I think, about stuff like this as of right now because, of course, just the retail market, generally speaking, doesn't really care about updates like this if there's nothing really going on when it comes to the charts. But the way I view it is this. Sometimes when people eventually do care, it's after all the action has already happened. But I've learned from history, right? I know that personally I shouldn't wait for a certain moment sometimes in order for me to appreciate these type of things because even if I just want to use an example, like for instance in the case of Cardano, right? Let's take a look at Cardano back in the day. A lot of people thought it was cooked. They thought it was done and all this. But what happened in 2021 to its native token called ADA? Keep in mind, at one point, ADA was hovering around a couple cents. Then we saw ADA reach well above $2 in 2021. But that wouldn't have happened if, let's say, Cardano didn't continue to, improve fundamentally, right? But when a lot of people cared about the improvements they made, it was already a little bit too late because at that point, ADA was already above $2. It was no longer at a couple cents anymore. I mean, could that happen here? Who knows? I mean, I can't control this. But I've just learned from those moments in a way where I feel like sometimes I want to appreciate things. I don't want to wait for a certain moment for me to kind of appreciate this. That's the way to take a look at it. But even besides that point, a lot of people like to tell me that, the internet computer, they like to say it has no future in all this. Well, I mean, I wouldn't know its future either. But at the same time, I just don't view it as such a bad project, in my opinion. I mean, okay, sure, it's not doing the best, but it's top 50 in the world as of right now in terms of market cap. Again, top 50 in terms of market cap. I mean, that's not that bad. Like, for whatever reason, a lot of people like to say that, oh, this project's cooked. Well, if they think like a 300th ranked project or whatever is not cooked, but then this one is cooked, I don't get the logic there, personally for me, in some cases that I do see. But this is just my mindset. I mean, sure, maybe ICP could not make it, but it's a top 50 project. I mean, it's not like it's completely irrelevant. Yeah, the charts are down, but the market cap is still well above $1 billion. It's actually around 1.5 billion, so it's not like it's doing that bad. So I'm still dollar cost averaging just once a month. That's it. I mean, I'm not going to do any more than that though, but this is just my point of view as of right now when it comes to ICP. Now, a lot of people like to tell me that, okay, but Definity, they like to announce this, they like to announce that, but why isn't it doing much to the charts when it comes to ICP? Well, again, whatever they announce, I mean, they could announce that they have a partnership with like Batman or Superman or whatever. It's not really going to do much if, let's say, the sentiment when it comes to the space isn't doing the best. So as long as there's no hypothetical change or massive change, I would say, when it comes to the sentiment regarding altcoins, whatever they post really isn't going to do much. That's the way you take a look at it. It's like, imagine trying to sell convertibles in Alaska during winter. I mean, that's the way you take a look at it. Sometimes it's a mismatch when it comes to the timing, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Like, for instance, even though maybe I would assume convertibles are not too popular during the winter in Alaska, it doesn't mean that a convertible is inherently bad. No, I don't think so. It just means like it's a little bit of a mismatch at that timing, right? So when I take a look at something like Definity when they announced this, again, it's not aligning well with the hypothetical altcoin space in terms of sentiment, but it doesn't mean it's a bad update, in my opinion, or a bad announcement, or whatever they announce, right? Whether it's a update or whatever. So when I take a look at something like this, I don't think it's a bad thing at the end of the day. Sure, it hasn't really done much to the charts when it comes to ICP, but there's not many altcoins, right, in the top 50 randomly going on an independent rally of its own. Some have had a pretty okay recovery, but it's not like they're doing hundreds upon hundreds of percents as a, common thing that we're seeing. We're not really seeing that when it comes to these top 50 projects as of right now, generally speaking. So it's not like ICP is experiencing anything we haven't seen before. It's literally just doing pretty much what a bunch of other top 50 altcoins are doing, which is, as of right now, a slight recovery, but not really doing much. But in the meantime, because ICP is below $3, I'm still going to be holding and I'm still going to be dollar cost averaging. But again, it's only once a month. However, at the same time, people like to tell me that, ICP, it sucks. Well, I disagree with that personally, in my mind at least. I mean, okay, it's not the best, but I don't think it sucks. First of all, it has pretty good listings. It has the fundamentals. Definity is still doing its thing. We take a look at what they did not too long ago when it comes to Caffeine AI, a self-running apps platform. I don't see why that's such a bad thing. I think if anything, it's actually a pretty impressive thing. And not to mention, ICP still has a good following, in my opinion, despite this pullback. So if I see those ingredients right there, what do I feel like is the missing hypothetical ingredient? It just may be an altcoin season, I would assume. We'll wait and see if that could happen, but I'm just saying. But even if there is no altcoin season, by the way, ICP at this point is so low to the point that if it could just recover back to previous levels, there's no complaints on my part. That's the way to take a look at it. Just imagine, right? Again, ICP's below $3. If it could go back to $18 approximately, oh, wow. I'm going to Sizzler. Oh my goodness. That's the way to take a look at it. Again, it's below $3. We literally saw around $18 when it comes to ICP not that long ago, right? Before it had that major pullback. But I'm saying, we did see that. So, I mean, if ICP goes back to that, I'm going to Sizzler. I mean, I don't think that was even an altcoin season. So personally, for me, as of right now, I'm just still waiting. But yeah, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I just thought it was a pretty cool thing what, Dominic Williams recently announced. So I felt like talking about it. Probably not the coolest thing ever, but it's not bad in my opinion. So I do like seeing that and I felt like making a video on it. However, I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to ICP. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. I just want to say thank you for watching. It's been Lee the Captain and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.